Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Kind of like getting into like some different finance videos, and I figured, my experience. Why not share it with everybody out there? So, I had just bought a Ford Bronco Sport for my wife, and they're offering my credit union was offering a really low percentage point. It was like 1.5% or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Other people's money. That's how you get rich. So we financed 28,000, and this was back in November. So we've made a couple payments on it already. And the weirdest thing happened is my credit rating dropped 12 points a couple days ago. And I'm like, 12 points. I'm like, what would do that? So it wasn't like a missed payment, because that would drop you, I mean, as much as like 50 to 70 points sometimes. So I was like looking at it, I'm like, what caused that? So I was looking, and my credit utilization actually jumped up almost $4,000. And I'm like, what did I spend, or that was like $4,000 on any of my credit cards? So I was kind of baffled by that. So I looked it up, and it was the name of my credit union was on there, and it was like $4,100 and change. And I'm like, what is that charge for? So I called the bank, the credit union, and they basically said, oh, that was car insurance. And I'm like, I have car insurance. What are you talking about? That's car insurance. So anyway, hopefully I can do this right, and I'll put the chart right here. But the loan amount was 28,000, and then when I looked on my credit report, the credit report jumped up to like 32,000 and change. So in essence, they took insurance out on a vehicle, and they put it on the tail end of my insurance policy, which baffled me, because I'm like, why would you do that? And now it's affecting my credit rating, on top of I owe $4,100. So their explanation was that the insurance card that I gave them, it was like a couple days after I purchased the car, but it was effective date of the day of purchase. It showed that I was insured, and it was insured to everything that the Federal Credit Union required. So I was like, okay, so the credit union wanted whatever the parameters were for the insurance. So we had all those, but because they weren't named as additionally insured on the car policy, they considered that insurance policy null and void, and I had to get a additional policy that would cover the car for the term of the loan. Now, I got to be honest with you, $4,100 seemed like kind of expensive for like a 5-year term on a loan. But after I was starting to think about it, for some people, that might actually be cheaper. But I don't know what kind of coverage there is. It's probably just enough to cover the credit union on their liability, and probably not you. So I don't suggest going with their insurance. But however, if you are not reading the fine print, if you're not doing everything that they ask you to, this is something that can happen with your bank, your credit union, your federal credit union, like whatever banking, lending institutions that you use out there. They may not cover everything that you need on their policy. And if you don't name them as additionally insured, they are absolutely, positively going to tag that onto your loan or your lease, or whatever you're doing. Leave comments below if I am incorrect on this, but from my experience on this, it's 100%. So that's what happened. So I'm still in the middle of it, but I feel like it's going to be resolved, because I actually had my insurance company add them as additionally insured, and they haven't taken it off what I owe yet. Because another thing I found out is that it has to be prorated back to the date of purchase. So they feel that I wasn't covered properly with insurance from the date of purchase until I discovered it on my credit report. So anyway, be vigilant out there. Definitely check out all the credit unions, all the credit reporting agencies out there, and make sure that you don't fall victim to this, like I almost call it like a scam. But what you'll see on your credit report is it will actually show up as loan amount. Like here, it'll say 28,000, and then the total loan amount will be, how did they phrase it? It was loan amount 28,000, and then it said total loan amount was like 31,000 and change. So that is like something like, that's a flag for you to take a look at on your credit report. Anyway, definitely be vigilant out there. And it didn't change my car payment was the other thing. Car payment stayed the same because they tacked it on to the end of the loan. So when it came time, and this is probably the other hidden part of this. So when it came time for me to trade in this vehicle at some point, they would have been like, oh, you owe X amount on a vehicle. So if I was like a 5-year term, so if I was going like 2 or 3 years into it, and then I wanted to pay off for the vehicle, I would have gotten a payoff that would have included that 4,000 and change, 4,100 and change insurance policy that the credit union took out on the vehicle itself. So again, if you're not reading all the fine print and you're not being very vigilant on that, that's how you could have been taken for like $4,000. Anyway, I believe this is going to be resolved. The Federal Credit Union, as well as my insurance agent, assured me that it will be taken off, and I should be credited. My delusion is they're probably going to prorate it somehow, because obviously real people had to get involved to resolve this, and I'm probably going to get charged insurance from November to it's April now, so they're going to probably prorate it somehow. I would imagine that's my delusion. Anyway, Brian from Garage Mahal. Be safe out there, and just always, dig into your finances always. Just always take a look at your credit reports as often as you can. And again, just be safe.